called Letters to Arralla. The game is about delivering mail as a little turnip with a giant jiggly booty on a small island inspired by Australia. So you're on this island for a week, and every single day you've got a new satchel of mail that you need to deliver across the island. But the catch is there are no addresses. Instead, every envelope has a picture, which is a symbol that represents where that letter needs to go. So it's a little bit of visual puzzle solving, and then you just go around, explore the island. We've got loads of little secrets and like little quests kind of scattered around the island that you can experience over 7 days. This concept came from kind of the start of the COVID era. So that's like 4 years ago now. I was inspired by Animal Crossing that kind of took over at the time, Animal Crossing New Horizons on the Switch. So I was playing lots of that. And at the same time, I also played 2 games, Alba, A Wildlife Adventure and East Shade. So I think at the time with lockdowns, and I had just graduated with a fresh degree in game development, I took all of these inspirations, which were games that I loved already, sort of like those exploratory crafting, wholesome, beautiful environments. I loved those aspects of games, and I decided to put them all together and try and make my own project. Like, I just graduated, let's see what we can do. I've got all the time in the world. I'm living at home with my parents. I was really lucky where I could have the space to do that. And then that's kind of what spawned the original idea and the development for this project. We have this really beautiful misty mountain biome on our island, and I finished building it today. So I finished placing the last rock, the last bush, set it up exactly how I wanted it. The set dressing is, matching the concepts, and I'm really happy with it. And now we're just going to start testing, like running around, fall off the edge, block off all the colliders, like make sure people aren't like disappearing into the mountains. But yeah, I'm really happy. That's just like a massive biome of our game that is now finally complete. It's the second last one. I don't know if people are sick of me talking about this, but it's like the one thing people love is like the butts. And fair enough, I'm glad people like it. So the butts, the origins of the butt. When I was studying at MIT in my first year, we were learning how to use Game Maker to make like really simple pixel art 2D games. And that is the first iteration ever of the turnip main character. So I actually animated in like 8 different directions, like 24 frames, a little running turnip, and just needed a really simple character at the time, but I just loved, and that turnip had a booty as well, a little pixel booty. And I really, really fell in love with how cute this character looked. And you'd run around and you'd throw flowers at little carrots that would like run away from you as sort of like a love letter. The more that you would like tag with flowers, the slower they'd be, and then you'd ask them out. I was just like, what's a simple like throwing mechanic I can do, but I don't want it to be bullets. I don't want to kill them, so I'll just like make them fall in love with me. So that was the first inspiration of the turnip and the carrot and just like the vegetable, like little NPCs. And then from there, I don't think I ever lost the idea of that original turnip. And then I decided, okay, well, if I'm gonna make a game, and I definitely don't want humans, because that is hard to like 3D animate, articulated fingers, all of that, bones, animations. Like I wanted something really simple. So I just thought, oh, remember that really simple turnip I did? No fingers, don't need to worry about that. They just have little nubby hands. That's easy. So it was as simple as that. Just as I thought of that, I sort of made the decision, yeah, we'll do the turnip and we'll do the carrots, and then we'll expand out and do more fruits and vegetables, and they will be the characters. Like behind me is a plushie of one of our characters over there that was made for PAX 2 years ago. So just like really simple characters were sort of the inception of the idea. And the butt never left. So the butt was always the original part of the design. And I thought, why remove it? It was cute. So all of them have butts. One of the first things that we ever decided on was to give them jiggle physics. So it was a script created by our technical artist, and it's worked perfectly ever since. And it goes beyond just the butt. Like some of the stems have jiggle as well, some of the leaves. Some like body parts, like other body parts have a bit of jiggle as well, but the butt is like the most prominent, I'd say. Yeah, so it's just something that we had established and everyone was aligned with on the first day. As soon as I said it, they were like, why not? Let's do it. Can't be that hard. And then it's kind of become like a staple in discussion in marketing. It's lended itself to really easy sort of being easy to remember for people. And yeah, I think it just ended up ticking a lot of our boxes. We didn't think of that at the time, how much of a sort of success the jiggly butts would be. It was a lot of firsts. It's the first time I had ever made a game on my own that had lasted about four years now, and it will be 5. A 5-year long development. going in, had no idea it would actually take that long. We thought it would be like, oh yeah, a year and we'll have something out. Didn't happen. The game easily sort of grows, and you realize when you sit down, oh gosh, this is actually, there's something here, but it's going to take a long time to build. So it was a lot of firsts. Our first project, our first time working as a team together, it was just a lot of friends and friends of friends. We all got together and liked the idea for the project and developed that together. So it's a lot of working with new people for the first time. It was also the first time we were successful in getting both Big Screen and Screen Australia funding. So we're in one of those very fortunate countries that they do support the investment in games, especially for the indies, where they know like, hey, it's really expensive to make games. We're going to help you fund this idea with no strings attached. Just like go forth and make something great. So we were very fortunate to get both of those rounds of funding to support the development for the project. First time making a company, that legal process, having like a company accountant, like all of these new things that I had to slowly learn with the support of the people around me in the community over the many years. So it was a very, not difficult, but it's a lot of new things that can appear quite scary on the surface, like a company and taxes and your quarterly BAS statements. Like, oh, what is that? They don't teach you what that looks like until you're suddenly, neck deep in it. And then you have to, just trust yourself and trust the process and the advice and the help from people around you. The best part of game development, and I think this is why a lot of us do it, is the collaborative part, the creative collaboration, where you'll just sit down all in your separate spaces, but then someone will like post an update or something that they've created, something they've designed, something that's done, and you're like, wow, that looks great. And then you pull it on the source control, and then everyone's got access to that thing and you can see it on your screen, and you're like just kind of admiring and looking at it. And just day by day, those slow little successful increments of work that come together, and the vision that you had stored in your head suddenly becomes like tangible. You can see it. You're like, we did that. We made it. That's exactly what it's meant to look like. Great. On to the next thing. That's one of the best parts of game development that I always knew was there, but then actually experiencing that for the first time, you're like, yeah, that's the good stuff. There's like a bunch of different things I love about the game. I think I gotta say, some of the humor in the game is great, especially when like you're starting to develop a new mechanic and it's like a little bit rough around the edges, it's a little bit janky, but you're plugging things in and it actually creates some of the most ridiculous results. And you're like, this is broken, but it's so funny. Do we keep it in this way? Or do we actually go and fix it and maybe lose some of that charm? That literally happened today when we were developing. Our amazing programmer was putting in pathfinding for a lot of the characters, and we've got like a little cluster of children on the island. And we're basically just being like, how do they like walk around the island just using splines? And they kept like bumping into each other and like running into each other, and they have no like animation set up, so they're like T-posing, like bumping and just following each other, following their mom who is kind of guiding the path, and there's just like 5 kids around. It was really funny. So it's those little spontaneous moments as you develop a project where the game will just throw like really funny results at you, and there's just so much charm in those little moments where you have to really go back and be like, what are we doing? This is so funny. Like, this is just such a wild creative endeavor that we've all agreed to do together. And just seeing those little moments is some of the best stuff ever, because every game will be different, and every project will have different results and different stories where people just remember like, oh gosh, that was a really funny moment and we just couldn't stop laughing, and then we'll film GIFs of it and then we'll share it around and be like, look at this. I think those are the little moments that I really like about development, and I really like about the game. It's all the stuff the player won't see, but we saw as developers. All those little things that we had to like slightly change that you'll never see. What's next? I think we're gonna keep that demo up how it is, but we will be working towards a new version of the demo. And I'm wondering if whether or not at what time we make that demo go public, because we're hoping to have big things, I can't say, but big things happen next year. But we are definitely on track and working towards the full release of the project. Can't say too much. I don't know how much I can say, but basically we're sort of nearing the tail end of development now. So we're gonna maintain the current demo that is up. We're definitely keeping track and looking at the Steam forums. We're getting bug reports coming back, which has been fantastic. So every time we get those bug reports, we'll upload new versions of the demo. But yeah, we're working towards maybe a complete actual full playthrough of maybe 1 or 2 of the days on the island and then upload that new demo for people to test out, because what's currently there is kind of like a hodgepodge, like a random assortment of things that you can do to sort of introduce you to the mechanics, but they're not actually official days. So I think that's probably the next big thing that we're working on, and then just making our way towards like feature complete, content complete, beta, all of those big jargony milestones that people talk about. But yeah, that's next on our horizon. Every day I make myself a coffee. It's the first thing I do every single day when I sit down. I make myself just a regular flat white, but with 2 shots of espresso. So, probably not good for my heart, but that is what I have every single day, and maybe like a biscuit. And I sit down, and that is my, this is so bad. That's my breakfast and lunch. Like,